Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Now, you'll be suspecting why am I greeting everyone in different time zones. Welcome to KW Malaysia's virtual training. Before we begin, I want to quickly take this quick couple of minutes to really welcome our guests, especially our guests all the way from the other regions of KW in the world. If you are not from Malaysia, if from a different country outside of Malaysia, please kindly acknowledge yourself in the chat box. Just kind of tell us where you're from right now. Where are you from right now? You're not from Malaysia. Where are you from right now? Go ahead, just use the chat box and introduce yourself. We want to welcome you. Hey, Cheryl, Dominican Republic is the latest KW region that just joined us a couple of weeks ago. Welcome, Cheryl, to our call. Puerto Rico, Nicaragua, Israel, Portugal, Costa Rica. Wow, Lisette, all the Lisette Montoto, the KW Worldwide team, leadership team is already here as well. Spain, welcome, welcome, welcome to KW Malaysia virtual training. Now today we have a power pack session. We have a lot of people that's going to sign on soon because we have about 500 to 600 people already sign up into our database, and they are kind of slowly coming in, and I think the internet in Malaysia is a little bit challenging right now for them to kind of sign in together at the same time. But we'll definitely have more people coming on board as we go in this session. Now, without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, you all came for the main event. This is an exclusive event only for you. And we have today probably, in my opinion, one of the best real estate people in the world, all the way from Omaha, Nebraska. We have the one and only Jeff Cohn. Jeff, are you there with us? Can you hear us all right?
Absolutely. You sound great.
There you go, Jeff. I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I don't want to do the wrong introduction, but I want you to kind of tell us about yourself and take us away from this next 1.5 hours. The floor is yours as we have more people joining us shortly. Go ahead, Jeff.
Awesome. Really quick, please give me co-host permission. I have a quick video I want to share, the hype video that I know some of you have probably already seen, and then I'll introduce myself after the video plays.
You are already a co-host. You can go ahead and share a screen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And as I get this queued up, if everybody would want to follow me on Instagram at Jeff M. Cohn on Instagram. And then I also had invited you to invite your friends on social media by posting this link up in your social media. All right, I'm going to jump out and then jump right back in. It's not giving me the option, okay? Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear that?
There's no audio, Jeff. I think you might want to stop sharing and then attempt to share it again, but you click enable audio.
Say that one more time.
Have you stopped sharing your screen? Maybe you can stop that first and then try to reshare again. But there's this bottom, Marcus, can you help this? What is that called?
Okay.
The tick box at the bottom left of the window.
Yep.
When you're trying to share the screen.
Do you see it?
Oh, I see. Share computer audio. Here we go. Round 2, baby. Is it working that time?
We're not hearing anything. Don't hear a sound. Hey Jeff, there's no sound.
All right, round 3. I shared with sound from computer, but I don't know if it didn't work for you guys. You're hearing me okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, everyone, we'll try this one more time. I checked the box, bottom left corner, share computer sound, but it's not working on your end, right?
No.
All right, let's try one more time. If it doesn't work, it's okay. I will share the link with you and you guys can watch after the call. One sec. All right, let me know right when it starts if it's working, okay?
There's no sound again, Jeff, but I do
Okay.
have the video with me if you want me to try it instead.
You guys ready?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right, let me try.
You guys ready to have some fun today? True leaders serve their followers by giving them the ability to be just like them, not only in words, but in actions. One has to help each person within the organization find their why. If people don't know their why, they shouldn't be going to work every day. So when it comes to culture, first and foremost, anyone that comes into any of our business ventures, they need to define the person that they want to become. And then we need to show them and they need to ask themselves within our organization, can they become the best version of themselves? So I know if my culture is doing well based on who I'm retaining and if they're growing.
I followed Jeff since the very beginning and I was just like, that's what I want.
Well, anything that Jeff Cohn does is top notch. So if he does an event, we perk up and listen for sure.
And I'm always looking for my next teacher. And Jeff happened to be one of those guys that is constantly a teacher.
My grandpa Cohn always said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. In just 6 years, our flagship team went from 70 to over 700 real estate sales, training, lead generation, accountability, systems, and technology are what we focused on to help us get there.
There it is. Thank you. Third time's a charm. I think that's a great example of being able to, jump around when you have challenging times and not be embarrassed and just keep trying. So you guys, I'm so appreciative of you being here tonight. For me, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So you're at the end of your day. I'm just getting mine started. And I just want to start off by saying thank you for making an hour and a half of your time to be a part of this. I know the difference between you and me are the people we meet, the podcasts we listen to, webinars we join, and the people we spend time with. And I know that this is going to be an excellent session that everyone here should take away at least one thing. First question is, what language do you want me to use? Eu posso falar português se você quer. También yo puedo hablar un poquito español, but too bad I cannot speak Malaysian or Malay. I am practicing. So when I do come there to speak this fall or next spring, I will have a little bit under my belt and ready to share with you guys. So one of the best things about having a speaker come on live is that you guys get to engage and I get to engage you. I'm looking at all of your beautiful faces right now. There are a lot. I think I have 14 screens I have to go through to see all of you. But I am going through them and I am watching you guys to see the engagement. You can learn a lot from people's facial cues. And so I want to keep you engaged. I want to make this fun first and foremost. But the luxury you get today is your ability to engage with me throughout this entire call. So at any moment that you have a question, if you want to challenge something that I'm teaching, If you just want clarification around a point that you think the entire group would enjoy, don't hesitate to put it in the chat. And at the end, I'll be here as long as you want for me to go through all of the questions that you might ask as follow-ups to some of the points that I wanted to make today. So in my introduction, of course, I shared the video, luckily with audio at the end. You guys saved me. Thank you for that. And you had, of course, shared some videos prior to today regarding this event. And leading up to every event like this, I'm always thinking about the audience that I'm going to get to be in front of. My number one goal is to create massive impact. And I always joke around that I want to melt faces. So my hope is at the end of the call today, I'll have melted some faces. I have created massive impact, and you guys can walk away with one thing that if you change in your life, you'll change. And it takes me back to the Jim Rohn quote. He says, your level of success will never exceed your level of personal development. And so everyone that chose to spend an hour and a half tonight, they obviously want to develop themselves. They want to become a better version of themselves. And if you're going to continue to grow individually, as a leader, as a father, as a mother, as a girlfriend, as a daughter, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to change. And without change, there is no change. And so today I'm going to share a lot of patterns that I've applied in my life to give me some of the results that I've had. In no way, at any moment today, is my goal to brag or act like I'm better than anyone else. Our journey in life is our own. I don't care how Marcus Pack is doing in Malaysia selling real estate. I'm not comparing myself to Marcus or William or Razuna or Susanna. I'm not comparing myself to you guys. My goal is that each of us are on our own journey, and every single day we strive to become the best versions of ourselves in every aspect of our life. And so Gary Keller breaks that down very nicely in The One Thing. If you haven't read that book, I'd highly recommend it. It's one of my top 5. And as I go through today, there will be other books that I'm going to recommend that have helped shape the leader that I have become. But one thing that I will share with you right now is I am nowhere close to where I want to go. I'm 38 years old. I got licensed at 22. I've been working full-time for almost 15 years as a residential real estate agent. Prior to that, I lived 2 years in Brazil as a missionary, learning Portuguese and Spanish fluently. Prior to that, I received a high school diploma. And then after I got back from Brazil, I received an undergraduate degree at the University of Nebraska, Omaha in business administration with an emphasis in management. And everyone expected me to take a high-level corporate executive level job right out of college, making $40,000 or $50,000 a year in Omaha, which is great pay for a college graduate. And I wanted to make 6 figures. I don't know why it is, but when you grow up in the United States, that's the number everybody wants out of college. I want to make $100,000 US per year. That's the number. And I couldn't find a corporate job that would be able to pay me right out of college $100,000. And so everyone I knew, I interviewed about 20 people I looked up to, and they all said, you need to get into sales. You need to own your own business. And so I started researching what sales jobs paid the best commissions, what businesses I thought I would enjoy, where I wanted to engage, what I thought I'd be good at. And I chose residential real estate. I watched my mom. She got licensed in 1987. I was in kindergarten. I was 5 years old and watched her get her license and work part-time and do well for herself. So my wife and I, we got married back in 2004. And we decided I would get into residential real estate. I'd give it 1 year. My plan, if it hadn't worked out, I was going to run up all my debt on a credit card. I had a $30,000 US limit. And our plan was if we didn't make it in the first year, we'd run up the credit card, file bankruptcy, and move into the basement with my parents. And at the time, we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and had a 6-month-old baby girl. So that is back in 2004. My first year in real estate was 2007. I sold 50 properties my first year. Single family residential, average sales price $175,000. My market's not special. I don't sell $1 million homes. I don't live in San Diego. I'm not in SoCal. I'm not in New York. I'm in a little town called Omaha, Nebraska. We have about 1 million people in the city and metro surrounding areas. There's about 180,000 residential homes. And when I first got licensed, when I drive down the interstate or the freeway and I saw all those houses, all I thought was, how do I make sure that every single person that ever buys or sells those homes chooses to buy or sell with me? And every year in in Omaha, there's 12,000 houses that get sold. There's 24,000 sides. And so going into my first year in the real estate business, my goal was to earn $100,000. I made $96,000 net in 2007. And in 2008, I decided to take a third of that income and hire a full-time transaction coordinator, because I became crazy focused on my highest income producing activities. And I knew for an agent that's servicing the business, their highest income producing activity is prospecting for leads and getting sellers to sign listing contracts and getting buyers to sign exclusive buyer agency contracts, and everything else can be leveraged. So the agents I know in the country, in the US, and I'm getting to know a lot more people internationally, that make over $1 million US per year, spend a majority of their time prospecting for leads and meeting with clients to sign contracts and turning all of the servicing work over to somebody else. All the paperwork, all the administration work, contract to close, even going on showings, even servicing offers and home inspections and final walkthroughs can all be leveraged to somebody else if your focus is highest income producing activity. So today I'll discuss a little bit my journey in discovering where I could serve the best, what seat on the bus was best for me. And I would like everyone to think about for themselves, what seat should you be on? Most of you are probably in the wrong seat. I've been in the wrong seat a lot of times. Usually when you think you have arrived, that whole sentiment of I've arrived, and everyone in their mind has a point that they think they've arrived, that's the exact moment you have not arrived. And so often we want to get to this place where we have comfort and we're happy and we think the rest of our life's going to stay just the same. And that's an impossibility. A great book that speaks to two things here. One, in regards to the seat you should be on, is The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. If you want to know more about leadership and address the idea of what role you should play, that's an excellent book. Another one, if you think that you're making tons of money today, and you are, and you think it's going to stay the same, read the book, Who Moved the Cheese? It's about some fat rats that eat on some cheese, and eventually the cheese is gone. The rats keep coming back. And I think a lot of times as real estate agents, we're just like those fat rats. They might be mice, but we're just like them, thinking, oh, the listings are going to be here. The buyers are going to be here. This condo project's going to be here forever. The market is changing faster than it ever has in history. I have on my desk here several different virtual reality goggles. These are HTC Vive Pro goggles, $2,500. You guys might get a discount because they're probably made in China. These are the Oculus Go. I also have Oculus Quest, and the least expensive option is $7.50 US, and that's the Google Cardboard. And we can talk about VR later. It's kind of my hobby right now. I'm in my VR room, by the way, in my house. But virtual reality is the future. The consumer does not want to have to physically go to homes to purchase property, especially now more than ever. And so I saw you were running the video of Matterport. We're huge proponents of Matterport. Drone flyover video, drone fly through video, Steadicam fly through. And then the last piece for existing homes is Matterport 3D technology. The consumer doesn't want to have to drive all over the city and look at 17 houses. They want to go online, narrow their search down to 5 homes, and then tour them in virtual reality in their living room at their house, not in your office, not at the physical house. And then once they've narrowed it down to the one they want to actually see in person, they'll drive to that property. That's going to be the future, and it's going to go a lot further than that with pre-built homes, and that's what I've been putting a lot of my time and energy into. So back to my story, I sold from 2008 through 2011 with that one full-time admin. My last year before building my real estate team was 2010, and I sold 72 properties and netted $350,000. I was 26, 27 years old, making more money than I ever dreamed of, more money than that executive position would have eventually paid me. And I was very happy with my decision to get into real estate sales. I was not happy with the hours I was putting in. And I know culturally, I think our culture is very similar to yours, and we pride ourselves on working hard. A lot of times people will call me. One of you might call me one day and I'll answer, and you'll say, Jeff, I have a quick question. I know you're really busy, but I have one question. Just take 2 minutes and you answer the question. What people don't realize is my focus is freedom. I want to not be busy so I can create space for those closest to me, including this audience, so they can reach out to me and I don't have to feel rushed. So that my daughter can come ask me a question and I don't give her a 2-second answer. So that my wife can have dinner and I don't have to look at my phone the entire time. And I realized in 2010, when I decided to launch our team, I was making more money than I ever dreamed of, but I wasn't living the life of my dream. And so what I would like to challenge everyone here to do today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your life is to ask yourself, are you living the life of your dreams? Are you the best version of yourself? Are you choosing to get uncomfortable and fail forward, learn from those failures and become a better version of yourself? Or do you want to stay in the comfort zone? Do you want to stay in the non-learning zone, the non-growth zone, the no cheese zone? Or do you want to become a better person? And I can't make anyone become better, and I can't make you choose to become better. Most people want to, but are scared to do so. And what I want for every person that I ever get time to talk to, any person that ever gets to listen to me speak, is I want to exude the desire for somebody to become better. And not better just for yourself, and you should be first and foremost for yourself, but better for your family, better for your loved ones, better for your posterity, your legacy, your generation after generation. The choices you make today will affect the choices you make tomorrow, which will affect the next week, the next month, the next year, and decades to come. And you have the power to change everything. You owe it to everyone that came before you to be a better version in every aspect of your life, not just with generating income, your health, your mental sanity, your spirituality, your charitable contribution. You are responsible, no one else. And if you feel like you can't do something, that's because there's messaging in your mind that you've received from society, from your mom, from your dad, from your uncle, from your boss, that you can't do it. And I have the opportunity today to give everyone the permission to become whatever you want to become. And hopefully my story inspires each and every one of you to realize, wow, Jeff Cohn's really average. He's this fat, bald guy in Omaha, Nebraska, who has sold 5,000 houses for $1 billion and started 15 ancillary businesses that run parallel to his real estate business: mortgage, title, insurance, investing, coaching, property management, a call center in the Philippines, a real estate brokerage. I have 100+ agents, and I'm growing. I'm going to be the #1 agent locally as a brokerage. I've been #1 in my city for 7 years as a team. Now we're a brokerage. We will be #1. I don't want to be #1 in Omaha. I want to be #1 in the world. I want to expand all the ancillaries across the world. I want to plug into all of your businesses and help bring value to you through coaching, through my podcast. I believe I have the power and the ability to influence the masses. And what drives me is no longer money. Ones and zeros in a bank account do nothing. They have no impact. They create no feeling for me. What empowers me is for Roland Lowe to send me a Facebook message and say, Jeff, after I listened to your call, 3 months later, I made a change. I quit my full-time job. I decided to go sell real estate full-time or invest in a house or, buy a dog or whatever the thing was that changed Roland's life. And because of that act, I'm a better person. And what you will discover as you become a leader, and it could be direct leadership with agents in your organization. It could be leadership by running a charitable contribution that builds homes for less fortunate families. Whatever the case might be, what you will find is it's not about the money you generate that will bring happiness and success. It's about the change that you will create. So when you have this amazing strategy that helps you in any way of your life, physicality, spirituality, mentality, work ethic, even like a super secret listing presentation, for example, and you think you're not going to share it because it's so special and no one else has it. The first announcement is someone else already does have it. The second is you're choosing to not help other people become better versions of themselves. So when our team took off, at 2011, we started a team. I'll wear multiple hats today. We became our motto. I was the Cohn team because I was ego-driven. And my last name's Cohn, C-O-H-N. And our tagline was Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. And so I killed the Cohn and became the tagline, Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. And from 2012 to 2014, we went from 72 sales to 250 sales in 36 months. And I had people across the country asking if they could come visit me. And the amazing part of that was my first 12 months, I visited over 50 brick and mortar offices across the United States, East Coast, West Coast, North, South. Luckily, I'm smack dab in the center. I could drive it. I could fly it. And I wanted to learn from top team leaders and broker owners. So back to patterns, if you remember me sharing earlier, before choosing real estate, I met with 20 mentors asking them, what career should I get into? When I got into real estate, I met with 20 top agents in Omaha. When I decided to launch a team, I met with 20 top agents across the country. It was actually more like 50. And I started learning from others' failures so I didn't have to have the same. And I didn't have a mentor like myself. I didn't have a training company like myself. And I know you guys, a handful of you are aligned with Keller Williams, Malaysia. I know that the education that comes out of Keller Williams is literally in line with everything that I'm saying, because everything I'm saying has come from all of the things that Gary Keller shares. Every book he's written, the one thing, shift, hold, flip, millionaire real estate agent for investors, and the list goes on and on. And Gary, from a very early age, inspired me and to become a better version of myself, not only in business, but in all of these other aspects of my life. Another really influential book, back to mindset, which I said, no one's going to change unless you say today you do want to change, is The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. It sounds morbid, but there was a nurse that worked with patients that were in hospice within weeks of passing this world to the next. And she started to find out that there was a pattern with the types of things people regretted. And one of the top 5 regrets was working too much. So people on their deathbed don't look back and say, man, I wish I'd put in 80-hour weeks. They always say, I wish I'd walked my dog more. I wish I'd spent more time with my friends. I wish I had, taken my dad on that fishing trip to Alaska, which is what I'm doing next weekend. So that's why I use that as an example. They also say, I wish I had lived the life I always wanted instead of living the life that my mom and dad wanted or that my spouse wanted for me. And that's why today I wanted to give you guys permission. And I know it's a little motivational speaker-esque, and I don't mean for it to be that way, but I give you permission, if you think you don't have it, to become whatever you want to become. So let's get into some nuts and bolts. Before I do that, I am going to share my PowerPoint. There's no audio, so nobody be worried, but I am going to share my PowerPoint. And I spent about 6 months preparing this PowerPoint for you guys. I put a lot of time and energy into thinking about what information I could share in a short amount of time that would create the most impact for people. And last year, my focus was talking about culture, lead generation, lead conversion, and different systems and strategies to help people scale their residential real estate business. Today, the focus is going to be more on the future. Because things are moving so fast for us to be successful and to survive, I believe we need to put an emphasis, obviously, on technology, not just say technology because it's a cliche and it's a buzzword everyone likes to hear, but to actually talk about how technology is going to change the world, how technology already is changing the world. And if we can take anything positive from the pandemic that we're all experiencing, everyone, it doesn't matter if you're 99 or 9, you have been forced to embrace technology. And it has helped. For those that are tech empowered and tech engaged, it has helped us immensely. So I believed from a long time ago, 2014, that the future was going to be offices that I call one-stop shops. In one place, I can meet with a mortgage lender, a title company, an insurance company, a real estate agent, a financial planner. And so I built that. I'm literally launching my office in 30 days in Omaha, Nebraska, out west. It's 10 minutes from Warren Buffett's house. So I don't know if you saw the article in Fox Business News. I'll actually post it because I think it's fun. Never in a million years did I think a residential real estate agent from Omaha, Nebraska would make the Fox Business News. But I'll post it in the chat here in a second. So as we think about what change we want to have, and I go through my PowerPoint, I would invite you to think about what parts of the PowerPoint you think you could apply today. What parts of the PowerPoint you think, okay, that's awesome and that's a good idea, but maybe it's going to be later. It's not my job to solve your problems. It's your job to look at the way I solve my problems and then give you some ideas on how it would solve yours. Back to the idea and mentality around patterns. So I just shared that link up there privately. If you guys want to share that with the audience, that'd be awesome. And I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump into my PowerPoint. How's my timing, you guys?
You're good, Jeff. You're good.
Okay. Let's see if we can get this going. All right. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So here we go. So here's the timeline. That is me, believe it or not, in the bottom left corner. 2006, got licensed. Uh-oh, looks like it loaded a second version. Shut that off real quick. 2011, we launched the team Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. 2015, we moved to Mr. Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. 2018, we sold 730 houses, making us the #1 team in the world at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And in 2020, Mr. Gary Keller recruited us into Keller Williams, and we officially launched a market center in January of 2020. I subscribe to the quote Gary has on the front of Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I changed one word. Gary said it's not about the money, it's about being the best you can be. I say it's not about the money, it's about becoming the best that you can be. And so we will get into one-stop shop, the importance of having one place to bring the consumer, the importance of training and accountability. And for those that aren't offering the training, maybe you need to be attending the trainings either in person or virtually. We'll talk about lead generation and lead conversion, and then technology and strategies surrounding that technology. So this is my office floor plan. It's 10,000 square feet. The bottom portion is client facing. So people come into the office, they're received by a receptionist who hands them a menu. They have options of food and beverages, anything you could think of we have in the office. They seat them in one of the 6 tech-powered conference rooms along the bottom there. And then they text message or call the agent or ancillary business with whom they're meeting with to let them know that they're waiting in conference room 6 or wherever the case might be. The top portion is the agent facing. Our agents don't have physical offices. Our entire office was built as a touch and go office. So people come together for trainings. If you see on the top middle, that's about a 60-person training room that all closes off from everything else with a giant garage door. Everything that looks like an office is housing ancillary businesses. So investment companies, property management companies, mortgage, title, insurance, all the Keller Williams operations. No agent has an office. No agent needs an office, in my opinion. Agents' time should be focused on, what did I say earlier? Prospecting and meeting with clients. And yes, you can prospect from your physical office, but as we've learned, that's very easy to do from home. That's what I recommend. And if someone demands an office, we have them go and they can rent temp offices. There's lots of different offices around town. So from a client-facing standpoint, we think that role of director of first impressions is key. Offering them menu items, having the client-facing hallway with all of the ancillary businesses, tech-powered conference rooms, which I don't know if how many of you are running this, but we're running a technology called Immersive, which allows people to bring their own device and sync up to the screen, including a sound bar and an HD camera, so that if one person meets in person, but their significant other wants to meet virtually, now more than ever, it gives us the ability to have virtual meetings. So in a world that was once only physical or analog, we now are giving people a digital option, and people are demanding it post-COVID-19. And then we also offer concierge services. So when you choose to work with KW Elite, we're going to help you transfer all of your utilities, electric, gas, water, telephone, internet, TV, cable, home security, because we've found that those are some of the biggest pain points for people that are moving from home A to home B. On the agent-facing side, we have a dedicated training room. We offer training every single day. Our trainings are designed specifically for different levels. So we don't treat everyone the same way. We break people into 4 groups. Anyone that sold less than 12 houses, anyone that sold less than 24 houses, anyone that sold less than 36 houses, and anyone that has had more than 36 sales, and then anyone that's running a team. And Elite Real Estate Systems, which is the coaching company that I own, we also train in that exact same way. So inside of our training facility, we have 4 HD cameras that are all on remote control. We run it a lot like a studio would record a news take. And when you're inside of our Elite Real Estate Systems training, you can actually engage with our trainer live, just like right now. And we can see you up on a giant, we have 2 65-inch flat screens just to include our virtual attendees. So if anyone wants more information about that, you can go out to our website, eliterealestatesystems.com. And also, if anyone wants free content, I give away my listing presentation, my buyer presentation, my drip emails, my business plan. You can go to ersloveskw.com. And if you guys would put that in the chat, I'd appreciate it. All right. Open community space is just a workspace think tank where people can sit together and work and talk on their phones and text and do whatever they want. And here's that Jim Rohn quote that I shared earlier. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development, because success is something that you attract by the person you become. And that's back to that word become. It's a very powerful word. And we each get to decide what we want to become based on where we put our time. Schedule at the bottom. So every day there's different content that we're sharing with the agents. The topics we train on, and these are all the topics we train on with Elite Real Estate Systems. If you or your team wants to sign up, we've got new construction training, social media best practices on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the YouTube channel, etc. We go over how to successfully get someone to sign a listing agreement or exclusive buyer agency agreement, how to overcome the objections of those agreements, how to use a dialer. We use the Mojo dialer, how to properly work a short sale or a foreclosure, how to partner with vendors to help cover lead fees, circle prospecting, outbound prospecting, calling, for sale by owner, expired, pretty much everything that I became an expert at to help me grow my business when I sold 70 plus houses by myself. I wanted to take all of that from a abundance mindset and share it with the world. And I started sharing it on my podcast. So we started, as you see the sign behind me, the Team Building Podcast about 5 years ago. We have hundreds of episodes of free content. And then everyone wanted to come visit our office. And so we started hosting workshops. And then everyone that came to the office wanted to join coaching, so group coaching, so that they could learn how to apply all these same things in their business and grow exponentially the way that I have. And that's where Elite Real Estate Systems was born, completely organically. Our team leader training is going to teach how to recruit. We're going to teach how to hold people accountable. We're going to teach how to leverage roles like direct reports, like success managers and accountability managers and operations managers. We're going to teach a class called career visioning, which I actually called it that before KW even called it that. Lead conversion, best strategy. And I can talk about that a little bit today if you guys want me to. Business metrics tracking. A lot of people don't know their numbers, and I'm going to share with you here on this next slide what our numbers look like. So I talked earlier about creating a vision for oneself. What's the life you each want to live? And I would challenge each of you this weekend, or when you have an extra hour, I think Sunday might be a good day for this, to spend about an hour of your time meditating on what you want your life to look like in the next 12 months to 5 years. And then create digital images or cut it out of a magazine, images that represent what you want to become with direct numbers that reflect that. So if you had a Range Rover as an example of the vehicle you want to own in 5 years from now, not only would you put a Range Rover, but you'd put $95,000. And then you'd put exactly how much money you needed to save every single month to be able to buy that Range Rover, so that there were specific, trackable analytics to be able to earn the Range Rover. If it was losing weight and you wanted to lose 20 pounds in 1 year, you would need to show, okay, that means each day you're going to eat X amount of calories and you're going to work out for Y amount of time. And over this course of 12 months, these are the benchmarks. And those are called KPIs, key performance indicators. So our organization was built on helping people define the life they want to live. And then you'll see on the top left, reverse engineering that lifestyle using key performance indicators so that everyone can be successful if they choose to put in the work. And so we have a call goal that ends up being assigned to each person, not based on our minimum expectations or standards, but based on what the agent has said the life is that they want to live. So if someone knows that to live their big life, they need to make $150,000 a year, we know specifically how many calls they have to make to get a certain amount of contacts, to go on a certain amount of appointments, to execute a certain amount of deals. And this is based on 1 million internet leads. That is 1 million visitors to my website that has generated over 100,000 internet leads using Google ads, Facebook ads, and Craigslist. Today, my brokerage generates 2,000 registered leads every month. And we disperse those leads to 30 agents that are part of our brokerage lead team. So the numbers on the bottom right break down to 5 call attempts to those leads equals 1 contact, meaning you talk to a decision maker. And this can also include in-person engagement at an open house. This can include text messaging, emails, etc. It doesn't have to be an actual phone call. It's just an attempt to make contact. So 5 attempts to make contact equals 1 contact at a 20% conversion. 10 contacts equals 1 appointment at a 10% conversion. 3 appointments equals 1 closing at a 33% conversion. And it breaks down, and these numbers stay pretty standard for anyone that's making these types of calls and contacts. 150 contacts equals 1 closing. So in Omaha, Nebraska, with our split structure, an agent needs to do about 36 unit sales to make $100,000. So if you came to me and said, I want to make $100,000 to live and lead the life of my dreams, I would say, okay, well, we've broken the numbers down, and we know you're gonna have to take 36 sales times 150, which is 5,400 call attempts, divided over however many weeks you want to work. So let's say you're going to work every week of the year. That's 52 weeks. That number is going to come out to about 100. I think it's 104. So now in all of our accountability meetings every single week, if you tell me you want to make 100 grand to live and lead the life of your dream, I'm going to go through every person at my brokerage, and they're going to stand up. And the first and foremost, they're going to say, my call goal was 100 or 200 or 20. It's all dependent upon them and the life they want to live. And then they'll report how many calls they actually made. And if you say your call goal was 100 and you made 75 calls, my follow-up question is going to be, what item do you want to remove from your vision board? I don't ask them why they didn't make the call. I don't need to know why they didn't make the call. But the truth is they're letting themselves down, and everyone around them, they're letting them down because they've promised themselves they're going to make that number so that they can live that life. But if they don't put in the work, they're not going to get the results. And we live in a generation that thinks that they can not put the work in, but still get the same results as the people that are putting in the work. And that's not the way the world works. The world will give to you if you do small and simple things over long periods of time. And every agent in our organization, we've had hundreds come through that has applied these strategies. They've received the results that they wanted. And the best way to spend your time, it's not just the 150 calls, it's then finding the smartest calls to make, the lowest lying fruit. Of course, engaging your sphere of influence, and we'll get into leads here in a second. So the 3 types of leads are broker leads, sphere of influence leads, and cold prospecting. The broker leads are like any lead that comes from our company, sign calls, internet leads, social media leads, etc. Sphere of influence, I say, is anyone that would know you if you ran into them at the gym or at the grocery store. If they don't know that you're an agent and they don't know your name, then they're not your sphere of influence. And everyone that's in your sphere should be in a database so that you can engage them on a monthly basis via email, text, mailers, etc. And then cold prospecting, that's calling somebody that's not a lead that was sent to you and that it's not part of your sphere. It's someone brand new. When you run into someone at an open house, that's a cold prospect. If you have a server bringing you food and they say they're moving and you engage them, that's a cold prospect. How am I doing on time?
You're doing okay, Jeff. Keep going. I don't think you're going to sleep until you finish, so don't worry about it, Jeff.
Awesome. Well, I could go all day, you guys. I'm fired up if you can't tell. I love this topic. I love talking about building businesses, and I hope I don't have anybody falling asleep. If you are, go grab your coffee or your energy drink or do some jumping jacks and get re-engaged because the best is coming.
Yeah.
All right. So my belief in your first year in business, if you're not licensed yet or you just recently got licensed, my belief is that 2/3 of your business should come from the broker leads. They should come from internet leads. They should come from social media engagement. And 1/3 should come from the other 2 sources. In your second year, 1/3 of your business should come from each bucket: broker leads, sphere of influence, prospecting. In your third year, 2/3 should come from your sphere of influence and 1/3 from broker leads and prospecting. And my goal for each of you is to help you become 7th level. And in Keller Williams, 7th level is where you run a CEO model. And a CEO model means you're working on your business, not in your business. So I'm not sure that your broker is going to be happy, but today I challenge all of you to stop selling real estate. Probably not something that you typically have ever heard from a trainer. Stop selling real estate. And that's Gary Keller's war cry as well. He wants to teach people to become entrepreneurs, to own businesses that can serve the masses. And the best way to serve, I've talked to you already about this, isn't for you yourself to go out and serve. Once you become a leader and once you're the best of the best in your marketplace, you then want to teach other people to become the best. And you can create greater impact and greater influence on others by stepping out of the servicing role and focus on the business building role of training, accountability, lead generation, systems, and technology, which is exactly what we've had our emphasis and focus on. I went 7th level where I netted my first $1 million in 2014. I was about 30 years old. And I recognized at that point that not only would it make me more money, but it allowed me to do all the things I never had time to do because I stopped working with buyers. I stopped working with sellers. I stopped answering my phone nights and weekends when clients would bother me. And I started focusing more on my highest income producing activities. And this recipe doesn't have to be your recipe. This is just what I've learned statistically works the best for people that are wanting to exit the business. If you love servicing buyers, you love working at open houses, you love representing your builder, then awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. What I would challenge you to do, though, is put yourself in a position that if you wanted to take a 2-month vacation to Singapore or to Omaha or to wherever, that you could leave and still make the same amount of money, maybe even make more money because you're not there bothering everybody, which is exactly what I experience when I take my 6 to 8 week trips. I just got back from 6 weeks in Kauai. So they closed Omaha down for 6 weeks. And that entire time we rented a house on the ocean in Kauai, Hawaii. And every year we take a 4 to 6 week trip. I was just in Singapore, in February 19th, right after family reunion, we went to Malaysia one day. So I'm hoping I get to come back so I can meet you guys in person for those that are in Malaysia. And if you're anywhere else in the world, I do go around the world to speak. If you are in Portugal or Brazil, I can speak in Portuguese. If you're in South America or Spain, I can speak in Spanish or Espanol. Anywhere else, I'm going to have a translator, but I can speak in English. And I know a lot of us speak English. All of us here today obviously do. Growwithers.com. If you want more information on speaking, go out to growwithers.com. Also, there's tons of free giveaways at both growwithers.com and ersloveskw.com. So stop selling real estate. Start focusing on building your business. Broker leads. I'm not going to get into sphere of influence and prospecting. A lot of people want to hear more about the internet lead portion. My recommendation is for anyone that doesn't already have a systematic way to generate leads, find one that works in your area. For us in the United States, we're using a system called Boomtown, which I think only works in the US and maybe some locations in Canada. Boomtown is a front-end website, and then it's a back-end client relationship management software. So you have to have a process that you bring in leads in a systematic way. And what I mean by systematic, and this is rhetorical, but you guys can ask yourselves this. If I gave you $100,000 and partnered with you today, do you know how much money that would make me? I give you $100,000. How much money would that end up generating in leads and closed leads and revenue? So I know today, I'll break down my numbers for you. If you look in the top left corner, it says Boomtown paid ad. By the way, if you're taking screenshots on every screen, I'm giving you this keynote for free as well at growwithers and ersloveskw.com. There's an option to download it, or jeffskeynote.com. So you don't need to take a screenshot of every screen. I forgot to say that earlier. Sorry for those that have 19 screenshots on their desktop now. So top left corner, Boomtown paid advertising. That's Google ads and Facebook ads primarily. You'll see 10,000 visitors equals about 1,200 leads. We get 10 clicks before one person chooses to register, and it costs me $1 a click. So the clarity I would challenge all of you to create after I break this down is the clarity I'm about to share. And this is 9 years of data. We've generated 1 million visits. Guess how much that cost me? $1 million. Guess who paid for it? Mortgage, title, insurance, home inspection, and home warranty companies. So we generated 1 million visitors to get 100,000 people to register. Over 2,500, 50% of the leads we've closed in the last 9 years have come from leads we generated off the internet. So I'd pay $1 a click, $10 a lead, and we close at a 2% conversion ratio. So do the math really quick. How much do we have to pay to close a deal? $10 a lead takes us 50 leads to close a deal. It's $500 US. Nice job for anyone that calculated that fast. So $500 to close a deal. Our average commission in Omaha is $6,000, and we split that lead with the agent 50-50. I retain 50%, agent retains 50%. So now what's the ROI? Agent keeps $3,000. Our company keeps $3,000 less the $500. That's a $2,500 net. That's a 5x return. If you give me $100,000, I'll make $500,000. If you give me $500,000, I'll make $2.5 million all day long. I have clarity. I know where my break points are as well. And I always assumed it'd be with lead generation. Your biggest challenge as a leader, your brokerage is struggling with this. You as a team leader will struggle with this. And you as an individual agent will find that this becomes a challenge. It's finding people willing to work. It's finding agents willing to follow up with leads and apply the lead conversion best strategies, which takes me to this portion. It's all about getting people to know you, like you, and trust you. I don't care where you live in the world. I don't care what language you speak. I don't care what price point you work in. People do business with people who they know first and foremost, who they then eventually like, and who they trust because you're a professional. And to get someone to know you, like you, trust you, you can't just email them. If I move from right to left on the screen I'm sharing, that's the worst to best way to communicate with someone. And the very best way is in person. So everything you ever do should be a goal of meeting in person. And when you meet in person, the goal should be sharing a presentation. And the goal of the presentation is to get people to know you, like you, and trust you. They need to know that you're a better option than their 27 other real estate agent friends. They need to know that you're the only person they should work with, but more importantly, you're the only person they should refer business to. So we have a systematic approach to every type of lead that ever registers, from Craigslist, Zillow, Google ad search, Yahoo, a referral from a friend, or somebody that we go to church with. It doesn't matter where the lead comes from. We've created systematic drip emails and text messages and voicemail drops that will go out to that individual forever. People ask me, how long does that go? Forever. I've always joked, and it's a little obtruse, until they buy, sell, die, refer, or tell me to go to hell. And why am I doing that? Because I know 100% in my heart that because they work with me or my organization, they're going to make more money in less time with less heartache. More money, less time, less heartache. It's the same reason agents should join KW Malaysia. At KW Malaysia, because of the training, the technology, the systems, the support, you're going to net more money in less time with less energy. Who doesn't want that? So we're going to have a systematic approach to emailing our past clients, to voicemailing our past clients or prospective clients, to texting our past clients and prospective clients, and to calling. And all of those activities, we're asking for a face-to-face. And what are we doing at the face-to-face? We're sharing a buyer presentation with potential buyers and a seller presentation to potential sellers. And if they're not buying or selling, we're still asking if we can share it so that they know the value that we can offer to their family and friends. Because every relationship you build, more important than them working with you and you making one commission, is that they refer 7 people to you every year for the rest of your career. There's nothing more powerful than having a group of about 100 people. I call them ambassadors or VIPs, very important people who are going to refer you 7 deals. Imagine if you had 10 people a year that referred you 7 deals. That's 70 deals. Now go to 100. That's 700 deals. 700 deals made me the #1 agent in the world at Berkshire Hathaway. You don't need thousands of people in your database. You need a couple hundred people that know you, that like you, and trust you. So breaking the numbers down, and it's going to be fast. When a new lead comes in, we create an expectation that in the first 14 days, that lead gets 10 calls, 2 text messages, 2 voicemails, 7 drip emails, and based on the search they did while on the site, if it's a buyer or a seller, they're going to get automatic emails sent to them of homes just like the ones they looked at. And so when we hold our agents accountable on a weekly basis, our question always is, how many calls did you make to every lead source? How many text messages? How many voicemails? Are you engaging? Are you creating value? And what we found, and I'm going to ask you a rhetorical question and have you think about it for a minute. How long on average, out of the 5,000 sales we've had, we've tracked analytically, how long on average do you think a lead sits inside of our CRM from the day the agent adds the lead into the client relationship management software to the day the lead goes under contract? When agents first get licensed, a lot of them assume that that lead's going to end up buying a house in the next 30 days or 45 days. But we've found analytically, and as we've tracked statistically, the time frame, which we call incubation period, that time frame's 5 months. On average, out of 5,000 sales, it took 5 months from the day a lead gets added to our database or registers on our website to the day it goes under contract, and another 30 to 45 days before it closes. So when you join my organization, we tell you, expect 6 months before you make your first dime. That's real life. Expect 6 months. Now, are there outliers where somebody registers and they buy a house that same day? Yes, that happens. Are there other outliers where someone registers and they buy a house in 5 years? Yes, that happens as well. We have 9 years worth of data. I have 400,000 people in my database. A friend of mine back in 2007 that I went to college with said, you don't need to rely on Google ads or search engine optimization if you just build your own Google. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, every person you ever come in contact with, anyone that ever buys, sells, refers to you, any agent that ever joins your organization that has a sphere of influence, put them all into a client relationship management software, call them, text them, voicemail them, email them, drip email them, send them value, send them blog videos, send them content that's going to help them that they find is useful. And they will stay with you forever. They'll use you forever. So I started that practice in 2011. And today, 100,000 of those 400,000 are from leads we paid for. 300,000 were added by my agents. 400,000 people, there's only 180,000 residents in Omaha, Nebraska. So I have twice as many people that have physical houses in my database. And that is power. That is the future. That's the commodity of the next decade. It's not oil. It's not gold. It's data. And that's why Keller Williams has put such a large emphasis on building a platform that talks to not only the real estate transaction, but every aspect of someone's life. So analytics is key. I own a company called Sisu, sisu.co, C-O. It's a Japanese word. And they focus on creating boards like this, data boards that tie into all of your analytics. And it syncs with every CRM that's out there. It'll also sync with Google Forms so that agents know where's the brokerage at. So this was our first month in January 1 to January 31st. We had 23 million closed, 104 units, et cetera. You can see the numbers. But what's great about these boards is it also creates leaderboards. So my agents can see where they stand within the brokerage or within their team. And each agent individually has their own board as well. So each agent that's managing their own team or that's tracking their own information, they now have a direct correspondence with their key performance indicators and the activities that they're engaging in every day, week, month, and year. And this is truly the tell that lets us know if they're putting in the hours or not. It tracks everything. You can put in, if your goal is to do yoga 5 times a week, you can track your yoga right inside of this dashboard. So if anyone wants more info on that, you can go out. Actually, I have a link at Elite Real Estate Systems. It's jeffsfavoritetools.com, and it's all the different businesses that we use. Sisu does work across the world, so it will work where you live, and it'll do awesome for you. All right, we're wrapping this up with my Albert Einstein quote. The last part is tech and strategy. So I talked a little bit about Matterport, 3D tours, drone photos. It's imperative today more than ever that you have a strong digital presence. You guys still okay? You hear me all right?
We are good, Jeff. Go ahead. We are good.
Okay. I went to use my mouse and my mouse stopped. I'm like, geez, I've talked a long time when my mouse stops working. So it's imperative that we do the best, better than our competition at providing the best drone flyovers if it's legal in your city, the best photography, the best virtual reality attached to our listing. I do it because I think that there's an onus on us as a leader and their ambassador to help them get the most amount of money for their home in the least amount of time with the least amount of energy. I want to provide them the very best tools. So I'm going to share with you guys, once my mouse comes back online, a link to what we do for every listing and what we've done since 2017 and invite you to do something similar. We're also now using digital business cards. Most of you probably know what an NFC chip is, near field communication. We have business cards with NFC chips in them. And so we can just tap somebody's phone and it populates all of the agent's contact information, and they can click save. Instead of having to ask someone for their number and texting them, it just makes it a lot easier. And then we can also do 3D renders of homes that have never been built or condo projects that have never been built and give people a 6 degrees of freedom experience where they can tour the home they've never built after the CAD blueprint has been created. And we build those at my digital marketing company, getvrly.com. So if you want to see examples of some of that tonight or tomorrow, keep that link, GETVRLY. Vrly stands for virtualreality.com. It's really, really cool technology. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you can see an example of our new office that's going to be done in a month from now. I just posted up the 3D tour, just got finished. And it includes all of the design assets like finishes, fixtures, equipment, etc. And that is the wave of the future when someone designs their condo or a house or a builder has spec homes, giving people the ability to tour those homes, not just in 3D where you look left, right, up, down, but actually can physically walk in a virtual room or in a certain space, 10 foot by 10 foot. And as you walk or move up and down, you see that 3D image change vantage points. So here are all the different businesses that we work with to get us the results we have. Boomtown is our CRM and our lead system. Rockerbox is a company that will work anywhere in the world that helps with lead scrubbing. Sisu helps us with tracking and analytics. Dotloop is our e-signing. Trello is our transaction management software. And HomeBot, and I think that is a US-based business, they send analytics to every homeowner based on their home and their mortgage amount. And so I don't know if HomeBot will work across the world, but I do believe all of these other businesses, with the exception of Boomtown, will. And then the last piece to the strategy part, and then I can open this up to questions, is MSA partners. So Marketing Service Agreements is what MSA stands for. And RESPA, which governs realtors in Nebraska and across the United States, RESPA will not allow somebody to receive compensation by using a home inspection company, a home warranty company, a title company. You can't say, hey, if I give you a deal, you owe me $1,000. And you have to create a marketing service partnership in which that vendor partner pays Boomtown or a third-party company to generate leads for you. And so starting in 2011, when we launched our team, that we put a big emphasis on vendor relations and creating marketing service agreements to help us fund all of our lead acquisition. So when I talked about spending $1 million, I've actually never spent any money on lead generation. I've always had that spend covered through my vendor relationships. Also, all the administrative staff we've had to create. So my first admin hire, I've had listing coordinators, buyers coordinators, sign runners, trainers, accountability coaches, success managers, and the list goes on. I've never spent any money on that either. I've always been able to zero base my marketing costs and my admin staff by charging broker fees. And I don't think this is going to be legal in every market. And you got to check with your broker and an attorney wherever you live in the world. But in Omaha, Nebraska, USA, I can charge a fee on every contract. So every buyer that buys with us, we charge $600 on top of the commission. And on every seller that sells with us, we charge $900 on every commission. So we typically will charge 6% of the sales price plus $900, or on the purchase, it's not free to work with us. It costs $600. And that money 100% pays the administrative staff. So for anyone building and scaling their business, looking at broker fees and how you can take advantage of MSA partners, this doesn't need to cost you a ton of money. It's just about putting the right team together. And then highest level, 7th level, is when you get to a point where you've created so much value for your marketing partners, you can go out and ask for ownership in their businesses. So I didn't have to start very many companies from scratch. I just created so much value for the businesses I was working with that I asked to be a strategic JV, joint venture. We started a limited liability company. So in closing, and I'll open up to questions, you guys have been an awesome audience. Our focus has been to create a one-stop shop solution where the consumer can visit digitally or in person. An emphasis on training and accountability, which I know KW Malaysia has a huge emphasis on this to help you guys take your business to the next level in the least amount of time with the least amount of energy. Of course, a focus on the highest income producing activities surrounding lead generation and lead conversion, making sure every activity you do gets someone to know you, like you, trust you better, and gets you face-to-face to share a presentation so that they sign on the line that is dotted on a listing agreement or an exclusive buyer agency agreement, creating leverage and turning over the actual dotting I's, crossing T's, and the labor sometime to somebody else. And then, of course, technology and strategies and how we make ourselves more efficient, smarter, stronger by empowering ourselves and our agents with the best technology and strategies that exist today. And my final quote, if you're not ruffling feathers, you're not playing with enough chickens. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are
Jeff,
great.
that was awesome. That's awesome. We got a couple of questions here from the chat box that I think we kind of missed, but one of them is kind of asking if you could repeat the context you make to your leads when it comes into the funnel in 2 weeks. Like how many phone calls again, how many emails again, how many messages again.
Yep.
What's that combination like?
Yep. Before anyone else leaves, because you're super, super sleepy, because I know some of you get up at 3 a.m. to get your yoga in or your meditation. I want to thank you one last time. If you choose to stick around, I have as much time as you guys need. I opened up 2 hours to my day to this morning because it was very important to me that I was here for you guys. I also am trying to come to Malaysia to speak in person. So that is my ultimate goal. Every activity I ever do, I have a goal associated with that activity. And my number one goal today was that I would be invited to come speak. So if you found value in my presentation, please Facebook message or post on this event that you want me to come speak in Malaysia or your office anywhere in the world, and I will come. Of course, things are awkward right now with COVID, but once things open up and it's safe, I will come, I will speak, and I can join webinars. I can do whatever you want me to do. I'm here to serve. I did not charge for this event, by the way. This was all free. Part of the reason is I wanted to create massive impact and massive value for people across the world. And I am so appreciative of you guys being here. I think the audience has only grown, which tells me that you found some value in my presentation today. Be sure, if you didn't already, please follow me on Instagram. It's just at Jeff M. Cohn. I'm trying to get 10,000 followers so I can look special. and have my blue check mark, which I don't have yet. So please follow me. I put a ton of great content out there to create value for you guys and your businesses. Also, take advantage of all the free content. You can get my listing pres, no strings attached, buyer presentation, my business plan at growwithers.com or ersloveskw.com. They're both the same exact link. And you can find out more information about hiring me or engaging me to go speak at a webinar or in person. My final thought is you are your worst enemy. You are your greatest challenge. Get out of your mind space. Forget what people have taught you. Forget the download you receive. Be the person you want to be. Just go do it. And don't worry about what everybody thinks. Be willing to post bad things on Facebook. When you have a Susanna Gomez, when something bad happens to you, you're showing property and you slip and fall, post a video about that on Facebook. No one cares that you sold another house. No one cares there's another happy closing. No one wants to see that. What they want to see is you slipping and falling on your hot tub deck. A couple of months ago, back in the winter when it was cold and icy, I was walking out in my robe. Thank goodness I had underwear on. And I walked out, I had my drink in one hand, my phone in the other, and I just hit the deck like bad. And I looked like a cartoon character trying to catch myself. If you'd like to see this, I think you can find it on Facebook. We'll make Jonathan go find it and post it for us. But my idea is people want to see that. I had more views on that video than anything I'd ever posted. People want to see people fail. And so have fun with it. Engage people, be authentic, have fun, quit worrying about looking perfect. You know, I started balding. I'm like, I'm just going to shave my head. I don't care. It's a lot easier than trying to pretend and, you know, fix it a certain way. Don't be the person other people want you to be. Be the person you want to be. Become whatever you want to become. And that's my dream, my goal, my hope. And that's what I pray for each of you, is that over the next decade and decades to come, you will look back and say, I don't have regrets. I tried A, I tried B, I tried C. I tried to love on everyone I came in contact with. I tried to have an abundant mindset. I tried to change the world, and I gave it my best run. I don't want anyone to have regrets. And so I hope that there's one thing today that you can take away to help create impact in your life, and more importantly, the lives of those with whom you can create influence. Thank you. Jonathan, go ahead. Any questions you guys have? I'm an open book. You can talk about anything you want.
Yeah, someone wanted to kind of recap the follow-up formula. And when the lead comes in to the funnel, how many calls do you make? How many emails do you send? How many messages do you send? What was that again?
Yeah. So our belief in our lead conversion best strategy is when a lead registers that you've never talked to before, you should call 3 times in the first 24 hours. The first call should be in the first 60 seconds. This is a phone call. So those millennials and younger, if you're younger than me, you need to call the person with a phone. And I know you think they want to text. At least show them you care and you're willing to put in a little extra work. If they don't answer, that's okay, because you're going to leave a voicemail. You're going to say, hey, I'm John Doe with XYZ Company, KW Malaysia. I saw you just registered on my website. Of course, this is that annoying sales call that you were worried about. Address the elephant in the room. But it would mean the world to me to be able to have a minute to talk to you about how with me, you're going to save more money in less time with less energy and have fun when you buy your next home. Give me a call, 444-4444. Sounds like a little infomercial, but that's the voicemail. I mean, it's super chill. And then you're going to send a text message. Hey, John Doe, just left you a voicemail. Hope I didn't interrupt. Would love to get in contact. What's the goal when we connect? To set up an appointment in person. Every call, every text, every email, the goal, set up an appointment in person. It doesn't matter if they're buying or selling in 10 years from now, because we don't win by servicing them. We win by getting referrals from them for life. And that's why the presentation is so important, having a powerful listing presentation or buyer presentation. Every person you come in contact with that believes you're the best option, Yuen and Malik and Lily, Pramila, George, your best option, half the names, I'm like, I'm skipping that one. Half your success will be based on the leads they refer to you, not servicing them. And it's just a total mindset shift. Focus on creating value. Show both the people you recruit and the clients you engage and the leads you engage why you're a better option than anybody else. Because if you are, not only will they work with you when they buy and sell houses, but they'll refer to you forever. And so every time you get a referral, independent of if the person ever even calls you, if you know that a referral was sent to you, that person deserves something. Whatever you can legally do, $25 gift card to a coffee shop, or even a thank you letter, a thank you text message, something, because they were willing to go out on a limb and take a risk, because most agents suck. right? So they were willing to take this risk that if they referred a business to you, that you were actually going to follow through and do a great job for their client. If their client's horrible and they treat you horribly, you can still thank them for the referral, even if it didn't work out. Because the more gratitude you show to the people that refer to you, the more referrals you're going to get. That's more important than trying to engage. So back to the conversion strategy. So first day is 3 calls, 1 text, 1 voicemail. The next 13 days is 7 more calls. I don't care if they're all the second day or spread across 14 days or they're all on the 14th day. My goal is 7 more calls. After the 7th call, which is a net total of 10 call attempts, there's 1 more text message and 1 more voicemail for a net total of 10 calls, 2 texts, 2 voicemails. On top of all of that, there's a drip email sequence that goes every other day based on where the lead came from. So if it's a buyer lead, it's going to talk about meeting to talk about your buying process, what's inside the drip email campaign, bullet points of your buyer presentation. What's inside of the seller drip campaign? Bullet points of your seller presentation. This is not rocket science. We're building value. What can we offer that everybody else does not? And what you'll find as you become masters of what you do, as you become real estate professionals, it's really actually pretty amazing. Just by putting in a couple years of education, listening to podcasts, coming to events like these, as you look around at your peers, people don't put in very much time to make themselves a better version of themselves so that they can offer better value. You can be different than everybody in your marketplace within probably 12 months if you pour your heart and soul into the question of how can I better serve my buyers? How can I better serve my sellers? The biggest challenge then becomes communicating to your buyers and seller leads that you are better, because everyone says they're number one. I'm the number one good-looking agent in my marketplace. I'm the number one agent in the $300,000 to $427,000 price point. Everyone says they're number one. The consumer is confused. So allow them to not be confused by sharing with them via text, via drip email, via a face-to-face presentation, why you're different and why people should choose you. Now, I will make one last point, Jonathan. After those first 2 weeks, that's what we call our qualify stage. For anyone you do know that's already part of your sphere, they're not a new lead. You're not going to do that. What you're going to do is take them through LP Mama. Are you guys all familiar with LP Mama? LP Mama is a sequence of questions you ask every single person you ever talk to. And you can Google it, but the acronym stands for L, location. What location are you looking in? P, and I'm going to probably hurt this. It's been a while since I've talked about LP Mama. I know it's price. P is price. M is mortgage. What's your buying power? A is agent. Are you working with any other agents right now? In the US, if they have exclusive agency, they are going to have to work with the agent they've signed with. So we're going to ask them if they're working with another agent. M is motivation. What's motivating you to buy or what's motivating you to sell? And the last A is appointment. When would be the best time for us to get together? I don't know how often you guys go out to eat. One of my biggest pet peeves is when the waiter or waitress asks me, did you make room for dessert? Have you ever heard the statement, assume the sale? Assume the sale is which dessert are you going to get tonight? Pecan pie or chocolate ice cream? Don't ask me if I made room. Now I feel fat to ask you for dessert. Make it easy for me to say yes when they ask which dessert do I want. So the question always is, when can we meet? I'm available tonight, or we could get together this weekend. It's never, would you be willing to meet with me? I know it's probably a huge inconvenience, but I have some time in the next couple of weeks. Ask them what's better, A or B. Always give options. So we're going to, once we've engaged a lead and we had that initial conversation, based on when they say their time frame is, if they're ready right now to buy or sell, I want to meet with them right now. I always want to try to meet with them, but if they're ready to buy or sell now, I'm going to start servicing them. I put them into hot. If they say they're 3 to 6 months out, I put them into what we call nurture. And if they say they're 6 months to 12 months out, I put them into watch. And we engage them differently depending upon which category that they're in. And what I mean by that is the amount of time you communicate with them. If someone says they're 6 months out and you text them every day, they're going to unsubscribe. They're going to tell you to go pound sand. So what we've learned is if they're hot, you can call, text, email every day, and they want that, and they want to meet with you, they're ready to go. If they're nurture 3 to 6 months out, you want to engage every 2 weeks with a call, a text, an email, a piece of value. And if they're 6 to 12 months out, you want to engage every month, every 30 days. And all the engagement that's automated is showing the value that you offer. And every time you talk, you say, are you ready? I'm here for you when you are. And if you're the agent that reached out more than anybody else, when it comes time for them to buy, sell, or refer, they're going to call you, because you didn't just call once and they said, oh, I'm 6 months out. You said, okay, cool. You, client, call me when you're ready. How often are they going to call you? Never. They don't know who you are. They don't remember you. They don't know you. They don't like you. They don't trust you. And you didn't earn their business. You were lazy. You relied on them. And all of us know that. So put them into a system and have a systematic approach to lead follow-up so that when it does come time, they choose to reach out to you. And then it's to anybody that's over 12 months, which is my 399,000 people in my database right now. All of those people are on a forever life drip campaign that goes out every 3 months. And we use predictable analytics on the back end of Boomtown. Predictable analytics lets us know which one of those 399,000 opportunities are the best leads to call today based on the interaction on our website. And Command inside of Keller Williams can do all of these same things. So there's triggers. If somebody runs a mortgage calculator that hasn't been on my website for 9 years, it's going to trigger and say, hey, you need to call this person. They just ran a mortgage calculator, or they looked at a house a second time in 24 hours, or they printed a flyer off. The system knows everything that they do on the site. And then we use our virtual call team in the Philippines to call the lead and say, hey, we just noticed that you print, we could get as creepy as you want, Stockertown, USA, but you can say, I just saw that you printed off a flyer. Wanted to know if you had any questions about that particular home and if you'd like to see it. And then they might be super creeped out. So typically we don't reference what we just saw them do on the site. We'll just say, hey, just touching base, seeing if there's anything we can do for you. I know. And then they'll reference the agent. Jeff Cohn asked me to reach out. Is there anything we can do? Well, crazy timing. What a coincidence. I do want to see house at 1234 Main Street.
Right. Awesome.
I'm going to answer faster so more questions can get answered. I'm going to keep all my answers under 60 seconds. I call this hot seat, rapid fire. I can do any overcoming objection training that you'd like to do. So if anybody would like to hear any dialogue, I'm happy to engage it like that. Like I said, I worked as an agent from 2007 through 2014. I serviced the deals. I made prospecting calls, thousands and thousands of hours. And now I've been a trainer for almost 10 years. So there's not very many situations you can put me in where I can't overcome the objection or answer your questions. But try it. It makes it more fun for me.
We got a couple of people asking this question repeatedly. What's that one advice would you give to a rookie agent right now in this season? What's that one advice you would give a rookie agent right now?
You've heard me talk about it a lot. Education, education, education. You don't know what you don't know. And you assume you do, because I did. I mean, everybody assumes they know more than anybody else. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And I still spend majority of my time asking questions and listening. But it all comes down to the circle you're listening to. Don't be the smartest person in the room. The people that you choose to spend your time with will be a sum total of the life you're going to end up living. The success of the people, and I don't just mean business success, the types of people we spend our time with will become the sum of what we become at the end of our world. It goes with the phrase, the birds of a feather flock together. So if you want to become something more, spend time with people that are more. Spend time with the people that you want to be more like. So what's the number one piece of advice? Go become friends with your top 5 agents in your office. Go take the top 5 agents in your city out to lunch. Spend some money to invest in yourself. 10% of your gross revenue should be reinvested in yourself by going to seminars, coaching. This is a shameless plug on Elite Real Estate Systems. Buying books, listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts. You need to become an expert at what you do so that when you meet with someone, you have the confidence I have to be able to look someone in the eye and say, Roland, I know you have 10 other agents you could work with. I 100% know you're close. Your brother-in-law is a real estate agent. I understand that. But you'd be doing yourself and your family a huge disservice by not choosing to list your home with us. I'm 100% confident, even though I charge 2% more than your brother-in-law, with me, you're going to net 5% more. And the reasons are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And at the end of the day, it's up to you what you feel most comfortable with. But for me, I'm confident that with us, you'll net more money in less time with less energy, and you're going to have fun doing it. Here's our listing agreement. All I need is initials here, here, and here, and sign here. Zoop. Go ahead, Roland. Sign that. Sign that sucker. I'm ready to go. I'm excited to list your home. It's going to sell fast. And that's it. Being able to look somebody in the eyes and say, I'm 100% confident, even though I charge more than everybody else, I offer 10 times more. And because of that, you're going to make more money, less time, less energy. It's what everybody wants.
Awesome. We've got another question here. What are the 5 things that you mentioned just now? Can you kind of repeat and kind of emphasize a little bit on what a level 7 leader should focus on in their real estate business? What are the 5 things that we should focus on?
Yeah, I go back to class, which is my keynote from 2019. Culture. So creating a culture of success You choose as a leader, like you are the culture. You define what that looks like. And everyone that chooses to stay with you is an extension of the culture you create. So if you don't like the culture of your office, you probably just need to let everyone go and start over. And you as a leader need to change who you are. You can't force somebody to be something, but you can choose how you act and how you show up. And typically you'll attract the type of people that want to be like you. If you heard me speak today and you chose to stick around up to this point, and you still decided you don't like me, you probably wouldn't be a good fit for my organization. But if you've stuck around this long and you're like, man, if I lived in Omaha, I'd love to be an agent with him. Or if he opens up an expansion team in my market, I want to work with him. And you are feeling the energy that's out there as we've had this conversation today, then that's the type of person I want inside of my organization. So the best way to know if they're a good fit is to simply bring them in and let them attend a meeting, a training, let them spend a day with the person on lead day. And if they don't like it, they're a bad fit. So it's literally that easy. And that's what we tell people. Like, hey, this isn't for everybody. We're full-time real estate agents. We're professionals. We take our business to the next level. We offer more than anybody else. That's not for everybody. If you want to play on the C League and not the A League, go. There's lots of C League out there, but we want the best. That's why our name is Elite.
Got it. Cool.
So 5 things was culture. Lead generation. You have to have a systematic approach to lead gen. Like I shared with you when it comes to internet leads, I know I can spend $10 to get a lead, $500 to get a closed lead. And of that, I'm going to earn X. Everyone here, including the ownership, leadership, and agents, if you don't know, and I call it predictable revenue, and there's a book called Predictable Revenue, by the way. If you don't know your predictable revenue, you do not own a business. If you don't have predictable revenue, you have a job and all you're doing is playing defense, responding to your job. You have no strategy. You have no foresight as to exactly how you should be engaging every single day in your highest income producing activity. And you need to know that by investing X in your business, you'll get Y return. And to do that, choose today to spend a certain dollar amount or time on a certain lead source and do it for 12 months and track analytically. How much time did I spend? How much money did I spend? How many appointments did I have to go on? All the numbers I had, simply have those numbers. And over the next 10 years, you're going to have 3 main lead sources you focus on. And the lead source that does well the last 12 months, you double down the next 12. So if you just made $100,000 net last year off of Craigslist leads, which is an online lead source in Omaha or in Nebraska, if you had a bunch of success off of that in the last 12 months, maybe you'll double down in the next 12 months. But it's up to each of you. No one's going to do this for you. I always expected I was like, why would my broker not do this for me? Why does our brokerage franchise not do this for me? Well, I read a book called Extreme Ownership. I don't know if anyone's heard of that book before. Jocko Willing, Jabor, you're saying yes. Is it Jabor or Jabber? See, this is the challenge with your guys' names. I just know I'm going to slam. You're muted. First or second one? Jabber, Jabor?
Jabor.
Jabor. First one, Jabber. So extreme ownership has the sentiment that when we think we want to blame things on everybody else, we need to choose to self-actualize or self-confront and ask ourselves, what role did we play in how something ended up going? When we think, oh, it's their fault that X, Y, Z happened. What's fun is I challenge everyone to implement a practice that I've implemented in my life where you take extreme ownership for everything. So you're in a traffic jam and there's a person that had been in a car accident. Everyone's okay, but the car is now in the middle of the lane and it's jamming up all the traffic. How was that your fault? Instead of being mad at the person in the car, how was it your fault? I'll tell you right now how that was your fault. You didn't go onto your Waze app or your Google Maps app to see that there's traffic on that main road that you go home every single day. You were too lazy to invest an extra 10 seconds to make sure there's no traffic on the road. So in most situations, if you spend a minute thinking, how was this my fault? How could I have done something differently? You'll recognize that you could have made a different decision. And in life, if you stack up thousands of experiences by simply looking at yourself and asking, how could I have shown up differently to that appointment, to that conversation, to that meeting with my therapist? If you ask yourself after every situation that something doesn't go how you expect it to go, how could I have improved? The next time you will get better. And more importantly, when things go well, take the opportunity to ask myself, why did the call go so well today? Why did the appointment go so well today? Why did I hit it off so well with Susanna? What was it about our conversation that was really inspiring? And what's fascinating is you're going to recognize it probably was because of how you showed up that day versus other days. You were more authentic. You were more bubbly. You were more fun. You were more prepared. You had better sleep the night before. You got your workout in. You got your meditation in. You're going to start to find patterns in your life of success. And success, and it compounds until you become exactly the version of the person you always dreamed that you'd become.
Got it. Cool. I've got one question. I think a lot of our audience here are potentially trying to transit from a sales agent to a business person or an entrepreneur. Like in your journey, Jeff, and you shared that you kind of moved from a 72 house business to a much bigger business. In that transition, what are some of the things that you kind of helped you to move in that transition?
Yeah, so you guys have all heard of board of directors in the corporate world. Large firms hire a board of directors that are usually successful retired consultants. They were previously CEOs at successful firms. I would recommend today everyone starts to think about their board of directors for every area of your life that you want to improve in. So health is an example of something I've been working a lot on. I'm overweight, especially after COVID, and I'd like to get in better shape. And I work out all the time. I just don't eat perfectly. So I created a board of directors surrounding my health. And what that was simply, I picked the top 5 people that I thought were the most in a position where they could actually serve me and offer me value and were willing to help me. Some that I had to pay, some that were willing to do it for free. And I have them on my phone on my speed dial. So this goes back to the sentiment of birds of a feather flock together. People that I believed in, that I thought were super healthy, physically, mentally, spiritually, that I wanted to be more like. I asked them, hey, I'm struggling with health. I need more help. I'd wondered if you'd be available once a week for a 10-minute phone call. Or if just I could reach out, if it'd be okay if I reached out to you once in a month with a question. Or would you be willing to hold me accountable on a daily basis to make sure that I don't spend 8 p.m. till 11 p.m. binge eating? Whatever the case might be, but being humble enough to reach out to people that you want to be like when you grow up. And that's always my joke. Like, Jonathan, I want to be like you when I grow up. I always want to be like someone when I grow up, right? That just means I've never arrived, and I always want to improve. So if you want to become a better buyer's agent, a better listing agent, a better team leader, a better recruiter, a better success manager, you don't have to figure it all out on your own. Create your own internal board of directors, the people that you believe in, who you know, like, and trust, that you think would help you. And a lot of times you don't have to pay these people. I have people all the time reaching out, asking me questions, engaging me, and I offer free content all the time because I have the abundance mindset. Of course, my hope is people will choose to join our coaching company, or they'll choose to buy something we sell, but that probably only happens 1% of the time. Most of the time, they just grab that little nugget that they need and they go off and apply it, and hopefully it helps them become a better version of themselves.
We are in the season right now, especially in Malaysia, that we are kind of forced into using technology. Technology is not really the thing in our business, but the COVID situation has kind of forced us to be in, and there are a lot of us are probably going through certain resistance in the way we think and the way we want to implement that. What are your advice for people who are kind of struggling to get into the technology bandwagon?
Yeah. Which technologies would you want me to speak to? Like, what do you feel like is the biggest struggle for the consumer, or for the agent, or for both?
For the agent.
Mm-hmm. So I know in a lot of states, in the United States, they've been on lockdown. Not in all states, it wasn't essential to be able to show houses. Most states, it was essential to be able to show houses. But even though it was essential and we were legally allowed to, a lot of clients didn't want to physically go into a home, or if they had a home to sell, they didn't want people to physically come through. So for those that have yet to embrace technology, go to a class. And I know KW has to offer this class, and if you don't, I would recommend it. But go to a class to learn how to offer virtual showings, how to take somebody on a showing using Apple FaceTime, or using a Zoom link, just like the one we're in right now, to walk through a property. That's going to be a game changer for anyone that's uncomfortable going into a home. I just did a class. You've heard of Facebook, previously the Facebook. I did a webinar with them, and I'm doing another one in a couple of weeks. They interviewed me on how to do virtual open houses. which I'm sure you guys have heard about. If you haven't, that's where you just hold an open house virtually. So you'll go for 2 hours on social media and say, hey, I'm opening up this house virtually. You could do some giveaways, get some vendors to help pay for some gift cards. And then people come in and attend virtual, and you walk them through the property virtually and talk about the house. And someone can say, hey, will you go back and show me the, kitchen counters? And you walk into the kitchen, show them the kitchen counters. But we have to be looking for unique strategies to engage people that aren't comfortable being out physically. Virtual showings, virtual open houses, I think, are two great ways to do it. And I know, Jonathan, you'd already shared Matterport. Since 2017, we put a Matterport 3D tour on every single house that we ever listed, hundreds and hundreds of houses. I'll share in the chat what that looks like. I'm going to share it privately, and then if you guys can reshare from me. But we've essentially put this on every single house, and it's a branded link on MLS. Oh, no. It went to Lisa or Lizette. She's no longer here. KW Malaysia Regional. There you go. So essentially with us, and I'm sure yours is the same, we have a multiple listing service where all the houses go. And on that listing, it has a virtual tour link, which takes them to this link I just shared. If it's inside the multiple listing service, it syndicates with all the different websites in our city through IDX syndication. We can't advertise ourselves on the MLS when it syndicates to other websites. We only can advertise ourselves when it's our website or our social media page. So the link I just shared with you, it comes in two versions. One's branded and one's unbranded. This link, if you look at everything that you get, it's a Matterport video, it's virtual tour, it's a fly through Steadicam, and it's a drone flyover. And then we create 5 different videos, Zillow optimized, YouTube optimized, Instagram optimized, branded for the agent for the MLS, and then non-branded for the agent for the MLS. And there's all sorts of call to actions and redirect links. All of what you see, that's $250 US. So I'd be curious in your marketplace how much you guys are spending for something similar. And if Jonathan's interested, my company, it's a digital marketing company, we'd partner with KW Malaysia to make this product available and on top of what you just saw that I shared with you, we can do the 3D render technology that allows people to fly through the properties in 6 degrees, homes that have never been built yet, in 6 degrees of freedom. And we're building VR rooms for people now so that they can use the HTC Vive Pro wireless headsets to walk houses in 6 degrees of freedom. And the technology today is absolutely unreal. So hopefully that addresses some of your tech questions.
Let's just switch gears a little bit. How do you build resilience, Jeff? You are the kind of go-getter, get it done, and nothing's gonna stop you. Nothing's gonna stop you, right? What's that? How do you build resilience?
Yeah, that's the question everyone always asks. I'm wired that way. Just honestly, like there's activities that I do every day back to self-actualizing of how I feel. There's certain activities I do every day that make me feel better. There's activities that make me feel worse. There's people I spend time with that make me feel better. There's people I spend time with that make me feel worse. There's media I consume that makes me feel better. There's media I consume that makes me feel worse. There's things I think about that make me feel better. There's things I think about that make me feel worse. And each and every one of us has the opportunity to control all of those things. And if we're choosing things that make us feel worse, we should ask ourselves why. If we're spending time with people that make us feel worse, we should ask ourselves why. If we're listening to media, watching news, watching movies, listening to music that makes us feel worse, we should ask ourselves why. So an example, I was really getting into playing Call of Duty on Xbox about 10 years ago. And I at the time was playing with my son. He loved Call of Duty. And I'd spend like an hour killing a bunch of people playing Call of Duty. And it was awesome. I was really good. Most of the kids I was playing with, I'm sure, were like 10 years old. But I found myself finishing Call of Duty and not feeling good. I felt like I wasted my time. And it's okay to do things that are fun and, to go out and, do hobbies and, have passions outside of work. But for some reason, the Call of Duty wasn't satisfying. It wasn't fulfilling. Same thing, Walking Dead on AMC. I don't know if anyone's ever watched Walking Dead. I was into that for like 2 or 3 seasons. And every episode I finished, I'm like, that show makes me feel like crap. It just didn't make me feel good. It never ended feeling good. It always ended and I felt sick in my heart. Like I just didn't feel good. And so over the last 10 years, I've really focused my time and energy on doing the things that make me feel good, doing the things that I think make me a better person, doing the things that I think will empower me to have more impact and influence on others, on my family, on my parents, on the people that listen to me on my podcast. Focus, extreme focus and ownership in becoming the best version of myself. Why am I wired that way? Because it makes me feel good, is the real true answer. And it's understanding, and a lot of people will go through life and never find that, never even choose to ask, and good for me? Is this company good for me? And so what I challenge everyone that works with me, I've got about 500 people that work within one of the companies that I own. I challenge every single person. I say, if you don't believe that this business, and I would say this for KW Malaysia, and Jonathan probably would second this. If you don't believe KW Malaysia or Jeff Cohn or any of the business I own is going to help you lead and live the life of your dreams and become the best version of yourself and help you make more money in less time with less energy, then go somewhere else and find that. Follow your passion. Go find the place. Don't blame it on everyone around you. It's your fault for choosing to be in the situation you're in. If you're in a bad relationship, if you don't like your condo, if your phone's not working because the screen's cracked, then figure out a path so that you know that if you're consistent over a long period of time doing simple things, you need to change your situation. Everyone here can do that. And I don't know your life. I don't know your situation, but I know your excuses because they're the same as everyone else's. It's the family you were born into. It's your color. It's your age. It's your sex. It's your country. It's your broker. It's your friend. It's your brother-in-law. It's the fact that you have a physical ailment. It's because you're bald. It's because people don't like you because your personality. Everyone makes excuses because it makes them feel better to blame it on everything other than yourself. And the truth is, it's all your fault. All of your success and your failures are yours to own. And the day that you accept that, you can become a better version of yourself.
That's good. That's a big aha, I think, for a lot of people here today. Jeff, what do you think the future of real estate agents will look like?
I'm laughing at, is it AI? We're not bald. We're aerodynamic. I love that attitude. Right.
He looks.
Yeah, real estate's changing. Everything's changing faster than ever in history, right? What took us the last 10 years to get to is now 1 year. It's going to move exponentially. And the future of real estate is going to be a world where the consumer is going to demand an experience that can happen fast and easy. That's going to save them money and save them time. And so the virtual is the future. The agent that's empowered to offer mortgage, title, insurance, inspection, home warranty, concierge services, ancillary businesses all in one place, not only physically, but also virtually. That's the agent empowered for success in the future. And then having a company like Keller Williams that has a platform that tracks everything with predictable analytics and artificial intelligence to help make the brokerage and the agent empowered to best serve the consumer dependent upon their life event. That's going to be imperative for a company that's going to succeed. Keller Williams is not a real estate company, and it's not a coaching and consulting business. Keller Williams is a technology company that chooses to provide coaching and consulting to residential real estate agents. But the future is Keller Williams will be the technology company and already is becoming the tech company that's going to empower thousands of businesses across 1,000 different practices, not just real estate, with their platform. So that is the future. Data is the commodity of the future. It's not oil. It's not gold. It's data. And no other company in the world has as much data as Keller Williams.
This is probably the last questions, and we probably want to give you some time to give a closing statement to this. But the last question I want to ask you this, when I saw you on stage in Family Reunion in Dallas, I had wanted to ask you this question, and I think our audience will be curious to know, why did you choose to move to Keller Williams? What drives you to make that decision?
Yeah, you guys all know the answer because you've listened to me speak this entire time about this exact topic. I was comfortable. I was at the top, number one in my area, making millions of dollars a year, getting all the accolades. Good job, Jeff. You did it. High five, number one in the world. But in my mind and in my heart, I was not number one. And I had a lot more growth to do. And I had a lot more people to impact. And I had a lot more influence to offer. And I didn't feel like Berkshire Hathaway provided me the stage necessary to create the greatest influence and impact on the world. And Keller Williams, and in the conversations I had with Gary Keller, he's an international company. And he was willing to help place me literally on a stage at Family Reunion in front of 22,000 people to share my message and my beliefs around how I can help people and how I can empower people. And it's not about selling real estate. Real estate is simply the vehicle. It doesn't matter what you're doing. What matters is that you're becoming a better version of yourself for every generation that comes after you, and that you're living and leading the life of your dreams, not the life of someone else's dreams, and that you're putting ones and zeros in your bank account so that you can create greater impact and influence on the lives of those that follow you and listen to you. And so that instead of having a scarcity mindset, which is the mindset we've experienced up until about 5 to 10 years ago, you have an abundance mindset, and your belief is that by serving others and by helping those around you, even if they considered your competition at another brokerage, by giving it all away, you're only serving yourself. And my closing remarks would be that what I've experienced and the people I've interviewed that are living the best life, that are the happiest, it's not about the money. What it's about is the journey. And the people that fail the most, that are willing to lose the most, that are willing to fall down the most and get back up, are the most successful. Success doesn't come by succeeding. Success comes from failing, learning from the failure, and doing all of the small, simple things over long periods of time. And independent of where you are when you arrive, independent of where that place is at financially, physically, spiritually, emotionally, you will have been successful. The person that's not successful is the one not willing to get back up. And when they fall for the third or fourth time, they decide they're never going to stand again. And a lot of us, unfortunately, if you truly step back and self-actualize about your life and the choices you've made up to this point, you've probably chosen to not stand up in a couple areas of your life. And so if this meeting today inspired even one person to stand up in one area that you've been lazy in standing up in, using that metaphor, I challenge you to stand up. Change your situation. If you don't change, nothing changes. Fail forward, be the biggest loser, be abundant, serve others. It's not about the money. It's not about the ones and zeros. It's about creating great influence and impact in the lives of those around you. You owe that to your significant other. You owe that to your children. You owe that to your parents. You owe that to everyone in your office. Become the best version of yourself. You don't have to compare yourself to me or to your broker or to your sister. Just be the best version of yourself. That's all that the universe could ask. And that's what I ask of all of you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Everyone in the chat box, everyone in the group here today, I want you to, if you could, in one word or one sentence, express your gratitude to Jeff here for taking his time off his business to spend with us in his busy schedule. Please express your gratitude in this chat box right now. Jeff, we really want to thank you on behalf of KW Malaysia. We are going to definitely bring you to Malaysia when we could, after we go through all this crisis and this pandemic situation. But
sounds good.
Definitely our number one go-to person to bring to Malaysia as soon as we can, and we're gonna bring you around, have great food. So you have 12 months to kind of lose more weight or manage that, so that you're gonna spend time in Malaysia and gonna have that food and that food tour. We're gonna bring you around. So thank you so much, Jeff. Send our love to your family and your team and your people in Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you for giving us that impact. Thank you for helping us see how we could be the best version of ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for joining us on this call today. Good night and good evening to everyone. Thank you very much, Jeff. You have a good one, and see you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.